Hello boys, my name is Kuliyoshi, and welcome back to my 100%, or rather, blind playthrough, or more or less this is the bonus series of, beginning of bonus series rather, of Pokémon Legends Arceus for Nintendo Switch. In the last video, we finished off the game, completed the important other stuff, and in doing so, managed to figure out some other stuff. So in the last episode, we left off doing some other stuff. So after doing all that stuff, we basically went to a part where we went in and did more stuff. Okay, what am I talking about? We caught Palkia and Dialga, obviously, and that finished the other stuff. And I figured because I didn't finish one of the collection things this one other time, I decided I would try it again. So, I am trying this problem thing yet again. This stupid Mr. Mime. This invisible wall setup. I think I finally figured out how to do that. Pretty much when you get stuck on the one side, there's this one tiny gap where you can fit in just barely, and then from there you pretty much are forced to go nothing but around this cliff here and around another invisible wall, and you finally get to talk to it. I will say that took me a bloody one time to figure out. Particularly I had to look it up, which I did, and that's when I found out that there was a way to get through that. It ran off that way. No, you've got a roundabout way of trying to get up close to Pokemon. Are you secretly scared of them or something? Something blocked me. You're joking, unless that Mr. Mime is using some kind of mysterious power. Whatever this case, this calls for further research. I'll go get after my Mr. Mime. Come quick. Alright. Alright, because I finished a lot of the other requests, I'm gonna actually make sure that I do this first, before I forget. I'm gonna try and do some of the quests in linear order if I can, but also do any I can finish quicker. There you are, look, Mr. Mime's over there. Let's see if it really is making walls. This one is less about the other stuff and more about zigzagging. So, from the starting point, there's like a couple of other stuff where you have to zigzag around to get to it. I'm pretty sure you might just have no choice but to... There we go. Just as I thought. Zigzagging gets you to the end. Trying to run again. Wait, you. Well, I can't go any further. There's definitely something here I can't see. What is it, Mr. Mime? Someone's got you in a panic. What, Rest, you know this, Mr. Mime? Yeah, it helps me guard the gate sometimes. So Fred does this yearly dance. Wild Pokemon can't get in. It's like there's some kind of invisible wall. It's docile and helps with a dub, so I just let it do it as it pleases. Thought, sorry to make you go for all that trouble, but it brought me some peace of mind if nothing else. If we got invisible walls copied up here and there, folks had better keep an eye out, or perhaps not an eye, well, however one watches for invisible obstacles. Alright. We get Ox Guards as our reward, which are sent to our storage, of course, because we still do not have a lot of room in our satchel, and I feel like I need to fix that. So since I mentioned request stuff, I should probably do that before I forget. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff that I can't necessarily do on video, and some of it will include finishing screenshots. But otherwise, since I am in extra mode, I will actually try and complete the Professor's goal, potentially, of catching every single Pokemon, which will take a while, but we can do. I think we have the talent to do it. You're that talented Surrey course member I keep hearing about, right? I have a favor to ask you. You know the Orball Tunnel, yeah? The tunnel near Arceus Falls? I'm hoping to dig into the tunnel walls to see if I can find any good stone there, but a Pokemon's been raging about and getting in my way. It's Mordecai. Think you can calm it down for me? I'll do my best. Thanks a ton. Please head to the tunnel once you're ready to calm down at Pokemon. There are tons of requests, as you can see. So Kameko has made itself home under the eaves of one of the village houses. Speak with Elda, an elderly resident of Troop, to find out more of the matter. Heika, a security corps fell from Alola, has several Vulpix. Simkekleo, trap him down and see what his request entails. Seems Morel, the mushroom hunter, needs a helping hand or nose. Make use of Swinub's special skills and fulfill his request. Token of gratitude. Melody of the Diamond Clan says she was saved by a mysterious Pokemon many years ago. Listen to her story and if there's anything to do in the matter of a follow-up. Keel, the Pearl Clan, has reported a strange Pokemon up in the Corate Highlands. Speak with the fellow in my lab and see if you can catch the Pokemon cornered. Oh, you're the one who accepted my quest? Well, then let's get right to business. Tale that's long been told about Hishuli region, about a dark nightmare that visits people on lonely paths at night. I never put any stock in it myself until I saw it. I saw a terrifying black Pokemon, just like the one in the stories. They say that people who are trapped in the nightmares it creates never wake again. We can't wait for someone to fall victim to it. We have to act before that can happen. I saw it near the Clambaclaw Cliffs, partially up Mount Cornet, and when I was walking road at night, just like the old stories all say. Be careful if you go and search it. I wouldn't want you to lose your life over this. Anytime they say something like that, it seems scary. If it isn't one of our beloved clutters, may I trouble you to help us with a little survey work? We've always passed down tales of some ancestor that lived in a village around the avalanche slopes, but I've never been able to find a hint of such a settlement ever existing. I'm beginning to doubt the tales are true. But everyone wants to know where they came from, don't they? So help me out. See if you can find any evidence that people ever lived around the avalanche snows. In the Alabaster Icelands. Alright. Since I want to actually finish the request percent first, it's gonna be probably a really long time before I do anything. My apologies, because one of the biggest things of this game is completing all of its requests, and some of them can be pretty difficult. That Cherrim one we saw before, that's one of the most difficult ones to complete in the entire game. You're at the Surrey course, right? Chimeko decided to nest in my house. Do you think you can hope to get it to move? It made itself at home under the eaves before I even noticed. It seems well enough, but I'm not at ease with having a Pokemon so close. Spoken to some holders who would be willing to let Chimeko move in him. What I'd like you to do is have a look at the homes and make sure they'd be a good fit for Chimeko. It's not like I can tell what Chimeko feels, so the place I'd like you to check is the farmer's house near the fields. Think you can find a nice space for Chimeko to hang there? Again, no money. We should be getting more money, and I think I know a way to get it. Oh. Doesn't like that place. Jackson seems to be bothering Chimeko. I'm telling you, Burmy is a Pokemon with a coat made of leaves. No, Burmy clothes are made of minerals like sand and rock, I'm quite sure of it. Ha, if it ain't covered in chaffs, it ain't a Burmy. Huh, this conversation is getting us nowhere. Are you both sure you actually see a Burmy before, or was it some other Pokemon? We might ask you the same thing. I see a birdie here in Hishui, and I've seen back in my own region too. And guess what? They're all covered in trash. My, you must have gotten confused somehow, my dear. These both of you, they're just repeating the same arguments over and over at this rate. Hey, you're from the Surrey course, aren't you? We could figure out which of us is right pretty quick if someone brought us an actual Burmy. Can you catch one and show us to us what you... Alright. I think we have to do this in order, so I'm going for this one first. Yep, this is a Burmy, alright. Simply deer, I grant you, yeah, but this must be a different species. Yeah, I ain't buying it. This ain't Burmy. The real deal can't convince you too. I guess we need to look at the fake bird too. Can you try and catch the so-called Burmy that my companions here were talking about? Alright. I almost actually have its other form too, apparently, though I did not catch it when I had the chance. This one. Huh, the Burmy I know is different from this one. Oh. What did I do? I wanted this one, actually. There we go. Take a good look, both of you. This little one is the real Burmy. Guess it looks pretty similar, but there's no way this is a Burmy. Yeah, I gotta agree. Where's the trash at, huh? Still, how can someone be in doubt after seeing a real Burmy right up close? I suppose we need to compare it to those false Burmy to prove the point. Can you carry on until you've brought both of the Burmy lookalikes that Maze 2 spoke of, my dear? Alright. I will say, this is probably one of the most stressful parts of the entire game, doing all this other stuff. Alright. Oh, so it prefers the way the wind blows around my house. I like it too, we get a good breeze. How about out by the sea? The ocean breeze is so refreshing. Alright. Jill seems lonely since there's nobody around. Oh, okay. Hello. There's a Wisp here. 3 Wisps in this area. Huh. Speaking of which, we have to get all the Wisps at some point. The way we have to do that is by going to nighttime, then immediately going... making it nighttime and then immediately going back. And then looking at this whole place at nighttime to find the first Wisps, and then we kind of have to do the same thing for all the others. Oh, it likes lively places. It's always great to have some activity around. How about the training grounds? With this yearly course around, that place is always bustling. Alright. Is that your Kameko? Why don't you come and train with us? Seems Kaveko doesn't like to battle. You have something. Hello there, Yoshi. You know, we have an interesting member in the security corps, a secret weapon, if you will. They're a bit of a Pokemon battle master, in fact. Think I could trouble you to face our secret weapon in battle? We'll wait on it. Quote-unquote secret weapon. Huh. Just because of that. Just because of our setups. That tells me immediately it's gonna be like 70 plus. I don't care what the setup is. If it is a super battle, we can't win it. So I need to make sure that I Pokemon around level 70 before even trying to attempt that. I guess it's only natural that some Pokemon don't like to battle. I'm sorry to scare you, Kaveko. I mean, not to worry about it. How about next door to me? It's hardly different at all by place. I just have a chat with neighbors, and they said they'd be fine with Kaveko hanging around. Pardon me. Just sent you chasing around looking for a good home for Kaveko, but I think I'd like you to stay with me after all. You really helped understand Kaveko a lot better. I think we could actually live together now. It just dawned on me that hearing its adorable cry coming from under the eaves is part of my routine now. You're gonna live with me from now on, aren't you, Kaveko? Thanks you for all the help. I'm glad this village has a survey corps. And Sunstone is sent to my storage. And I guess since we're here, let's start with the big request first and just try and get it out of the way right away. So the most obnoxious request to complete in the game, that's the Wisp one. There's not really a good way to complete this, and even then it's pretty obnoxious. In case you're wondering how to complete this, you pretty much have to go until nightfall. So the moment that it goes to other stuff. It could be multiple different things you could use. You could go to evening or go to nightfall, but most of the time you want to pick nightfall. And to get that to activate then on other slots, also because we did a new observation with finishing that Mr. Mime and Kameko, we actually got data on both of them. It's kind of interesting that because that came from completing a quest, I didn't actually get the effect going through. Also, I just realized some of the requests don't even work properly. They only work if you complete other stuff. But anyways, we are now in nighttime in Jubilife Village, which should now activate the Wisp effect, which will cause Wisps to appear in the area. And this is where the part gets a bit tricky. We have to pretty much go around until we have found every single Wisp in the area. As long as at least it's closer to nightfall, it may have to be later on, I don't know. It might have to be even later, but otherwise, just gotta come here during nighttime, and then we have to look around at random for these wisps. Because that's when they appear. There are 2 wisps remaining in this area. And each time we capture one, there will be 2 additional ones that'll show up. Yes. And each time we do so, we get a special effect, depending on what we get here. Of course, these are not designed to be hidden in the easiest locations, but instead are hidden behind areas you would never go to normally. There's 1 wisp remaining in this area, which literally just appeared in front of my face. Of course, Jubilife Village is probably the easiest one, as it has almost no wisps to begin with. It's the big areas where things will get a bit interesting. You've collected all the wisps in this area. I actually don't know if this is necessarily counts as an area, so I'm actually gonna go out here now and check around here, make sure there's nothing in this area. Yeah, definitely difficult. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, that's odd. Whenever sandstorm effects kind of just appear on other stuff, or something that's odd, it feels like something weird is going on that we don't know about. Okay, I think our suspicions are correct. I think it is tied to areas. So now we have to actually go into the main zones and find all the different ones. Again, only at nightfall. And each time nightfall ends, we have to search it back to night. So we have kind of a limited time to get all of them. Thankfully, we do have a little bit of help in the form of a special effect, in the form of, yeah, you guessed it, we have Bravery, which makes some of these a bit easier, but some of them are still pretty difficult, because you can't always go into every single area every time. There are some areas you can't even go to at all. Anyways, the simplest way of looking is to just dive down close enough to where you can see that, and then kind of just dash around and look around and hope to you actually find them. Given this game's random nature, despite the Wisp being in set locations, this will mean that it'll take quite a while to get it. The reason why I want to gather them from the area is because I find them probably a bit easier to gather this way than if you would just do it from the ground, because in the ground you can see them more easily, but you run the risk into running into wilds. This one, you don't run as much of a risk in running into wilds. In fact, more often than not, you can just kind of ignore them. Oh, there's a water stone. As we get later into the game, we start getting some more items for certain other stuff, and Waterstone is one of those items. It is a bit unusual at first glance, but it is definitely one of the better items in the game. So, yeah, definitely important to keep those. So, as part of our special effects, yes, we got stuff done at random. I like how we can go up here partially, but if we try and go any further, we just get other stuff to happen. I don't really care about hitting Sky Tumblestones anymore, but I have started hitting them more ever since the bonus, just to get Iron Chunks, because Iron Chunks can now drop from those random fiends in addition to other stuff. Alright. I like how the entire sect or whatever with the Wisp or whatever, it effectively applies to the entire area. So once you do actually find all of the Wisps in a particular area, you know you're done and there can't possibly be any more. Of course, the trick is actually finding them is very difficult because it effectively forces you to explore the entire area, which is what we're probably going to have to do here. You may have seen me ignore some intentionally, but that was because so I could do some of them later. And since I am still trying to catch Pokemon, I'm not necessarily going to just stop doing other stuff. I will try to catch Pokemon as I go on with it. Alright. Because I have rank 7 in our effect list, that means we can effectively go for a certain Pokemon here. This is one I think we skipped a couple of times, but now we're going to actually try to not only fight it, but catch it. As one of the effects in the game requires us to catch our alphas. And it's technically an alpha we've never seen, so let's see if we can't, if I actually have the skills to at least attempt to pull off this other strategy. Sorry, lure it over, that is. That is a very heavy Pokemon, if not one of the heaviest in the entire game. Oh, I did not want to do it that way. Oh! That was risky. I almost got caught very easily there. That could have been really scary. We still have regular heavy balls, so we could continue going. But now it has that effect there. If we fail this 3 times, Blizzy will automatically aggress to us. We have this, of course, ready. The game normally expects you to have to fight these encounters, but if you do this trick I'm about to show you, it is technically possible for you to attempt to go for it more than once, as normally you don't get a chance to go for it more than once. Did not lower the catch rate setup. The way I'm going to effectively handle each of these is we're gonna hit each one twice during its specific cycle. If on the second try it does not catch by the other stuff, we're gonna go in and go out and then immediately come back. This is a hidden trick that not many people know about, and I didn't bring it up at all until recently. So what I just did, reset what is called the hidden threat value. Effectively, by doing this and a couple of other stuffs, we can manipulate the threat to be exactly what we want. More importantly, I should get the heaviest duration of the heavy ball, by the way, the Gigaton ball. Just because it'll make going through this actually a lot easier. And instead of actually doing this badly, let's actually throw this very properly now. There's also other things you can do to improve its effect, like feeding it its favorite food gets it up to green, and hitting it in the back with any of the heavy ball kinds. That also gives you a crit effect. Beyond that, it's just random, and there's not much we can do about it otherwise. Given it is one of the more bigger Pokemon, it might be better to just go for the actual battle, but we do have a small chance left, particularly in the Raspberry option. As far as I'm aware, Raspberries also reduce the likelihood of them breaking out. But yeah. Wow, a full series of catches and 4 Gigaton balls later is what it took to get that big boy. And looks like I went for the right setup because we also had to catch it without being spotted anyways, which made it one of the most difficult catches to perform, at least up to this point. Given every single catching is completely random, that took a very long time for what it was worth, that's for sure, but it was worth it. We caught some on another big Pokemon, and we got some more other stuff. I'm gonna boost up Palkia in his levels a bit, because I have him still in my party, so I'm gonna use the thing we got from it to boost Palkia's level up. I like how some of the tougher Pokemon, particularly around level 70, will now give you a large diamond or whatever, rather than a XP candy medium, meaning it actually helps to battle tougher Pokemon in this. And see that what the joke had. Oh yeah, that's right, I had to stun it using items. This one's kind of awkward because it's like, who else would want to stun it using items? It's kind of awkward, but effectively what I've learned to do is, if you hit it with an item, it'll immediately aggress, and it will normally throw a move at you. But if you keep on throwing items, you can have it get stunned like that, and that's how to get that effect. Normally, this is used by most people, or intended to be used, as a way to give yourself a free move, because often when you're trying to battle, sometimes the Pokemon will just throw tons of moves at you. It can be very tricky. If you stun on it by hitting it with an apricorn, which you just saw there, you will actually stun that Pokemon for a brief duration, which gives you a chance to act with either catching it, which would be one way of getting through. You could literally just catch it from there. Or the easier effect is to just, at that point, initiate a battle. And Either way, it gives you a free chance to use some other characters, which helps out a lot. My goodness. All these Geodude coming out. I like how it's still really far away and we still can just find Geodudes everywhere. And hello, we got 2 water stones at once. I didn't even see who was aggressing onto me. Okay, someone mysterious aggressed onto me from far away or somewhere where I couldn't see, which means it probably was either a flying Pokemon or something else. Still, all is weird. Actually. Alright. All that and no Cherem, unfortunately. We're looking for Cherem from one of his other fiends. We also need Palkia to use Spatial Rend a bunch of times, which we haven't been doing lately, so we should start doing that a bit more. At least I know there's a special effect where to get particular effects completed for the character, you have to get them to use a certain move. Well, there's the other one in the bunch, Chansey. This one usually not as tricky as Blissey, but it could have its own problems. It, of course, is also red in classic fashion. Like before, I'm not sure if we'll be able to... There are quite a few different ways to actually go about catching these. Some people will try catching them with Ultra Balls, and it's a decent strategy, but it has a really low success rate and tends to mess up a lot more than the strategy I use, which is where you go and heavy ball it from the back and do other stuff. And using the heavy ball allows you to finish that stuff off. Seems you get Grist Dust on almost every single catch, by the way, which is helpful. Speaking of which, we've never actually used our rare candies yet. I think I know exactly where to use them on. I'm just gonna use them on Samurott. Like, ignore all the other effects. I use them all on him, because why not? He's my main. Get him up to level 70. Take this, and use one for Rapidash. Just cause. And there we go. But yeah, lots of stuff to collect. The amount of water stones we found is certainly a bit more unprecedented. Oh well. So I just realized I'm going for nighttime fiends, right? And I forgot about that. I kind of ignored that because during some of the sessions, you'll definitely encounter a lot of alpha Pokemon. And considering I'm still trying to farm money, one of the effects, since it requires alpha Pokemon to get a good catch done, definitely not a bad idea to catch them. I will say... Catching some of these Pokemon has become really difficult over the course of time. And also, as you can see, they have tons of HP each, despite not being that leveled. Their attack and defense are pathetically low, though, as you can see, whereas their special is, like, through the roof. That's basically what happens with them. But yeah, we have some other good Pokemon that we've been in here for a while. One Pokemon I've kind of missed out on when doing stuff is Eevee, because I've been kind of focusing on other stuff that I've kind of ignored Eevee's effect. You know what? Since Vaporeon's one of the best, and we have an Alpha Eevee in here, let's use one of our stones to evolve Eevee. I got so many water stones, may as well use one on Eevee. Alright. One of the biggest things we have to deal with involves getting Eevee evolved into all of its major evolutions, most of which require us to use stones on them. And those stones can be kind of tricky to find. So yeah, there'll be different ones. Alright. As you level up more, it'll get more stuff. But yeah, that's another thing I thought I would try and do. But it's not something that I want to do throughout the entire game. I just thought I would put it in just for the fun of it. But I guess one thing I do want to do is I want to bring back Eevee just partially for a little bit. After I go in here, that is, and actually transfer some other stuff. Wow, one of our Pokeballs kind of just went into here. Let's move that in. Move this out. Move this in. And we could sell the Stardust at some point for some money as well. Sell maybe some of the Tumblestones for some money. And what else could we get rid of? I was about to say I could get rid of the Great Balls, but I don't see them anywhere. I'll keep Smoke Bonds. And, move this. Move this. Don't really need that. Move this and this. And keep that so I can maybe buy some of those later. And then we'll continue with the Wisp vein, so let's sleep until nightfall again. Because I went so slow on one of the catches, I lost nightfall during the catch, so I am gonna go back in tonight. I feel like evening might be better for some of the later ones, since you technically can still see the Wisps during it. So this area where we found our Chansey, that is where we're going first. I don't want to go anywhere else until I finish that. I just realized, by the way, finally, what the Flight Ball is actually supposed to be used for. That little thing that I said might be sort of useless. Yeah. It's actually probably one of the best things we could hope for. Alright. Well, this whole area doesn't have anything. Oh yeah, this is where we found one of the other items. It was here where we got stopped, right? Since it's kind of close up. Let's, swap. What's kind of funny is, despite Machoke having a fighting nature, it doesn't seem to want to naturally fight us on its own. I'm gonna go up here first, and then search around the rest of this with everything else. Yeah, it seems to be tame for the most part. For a big fighting Pokemon, Machoke is a lot tamer than you initially would have anticipated it. Alright, where else did they hide these? Where else did Game Freak or whoever made this hide these? That's begs to question. Some of these are probably hidden in some really awkward locations, practically forcing us to survey the region. One thing's for sure, if we ever find this thing or whatever, we need to make sure to touch it as soon as possible. Thankfully, they're obliviously easy to find, if not one of the easiest things to find in the game, since their darkness looking like light or whatever makes it kind of easy to spot. I like how it took me forever for that one box. Remember when I was talking about that one box? I think I've mentioned this a couple of times throughout the playthrough, that there was this one satchel that I couldn't get for the longest time. And I found a way to get that by just going up other stuff. And that's when I found out there was a Blissey up here, and that's what the person actually died to. Which suddenly makes a whole lot of sense, because Blissey is one of the hardest to face down naturally. If you don't have a good plan, he's probably going to take you out. He or she is probably going to take you out if you don't know what to do. Exactly. Okay, whenever there's trees in here... Also, this is Grand Tree Arena, which is why it looks like this. The big thing I'm trying to go for, and why I'm going through all these other stuff, is I'm trying to hit these trees near the forest. Because this is where I found Cherubi the last time, and I want to find it again. I've used Hugh quite enough, I think. I'm gonna use somebody else instead. Let's do you instead. Y score. Alright. Alright. Okay, we got a decent pull of berries. It's always nice. Since my requirement set up for the thing that I wanted to deal with involves catching a lot of Pokemon, particularly alphas, we should probably try to catch the Cypher as well. I know we already have one, but it's not a bad idea to try catching the alpha for a change. Now, actually getting the alpha could be a bit tricky, especially depending on your position. That was a bit easier to catch than the other ones, though. But yeah, alphas supposedly have more stats than other Pokemon, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll always be good. Like, as you saw, Glade has lost its fair share of battles, and it's supposed to be stronger Pokemon in the game. Funnily enough, though, I probably know why, because Glade has pretty low defenses. It has good attack power, but not the best defenses, which is probably why it's dying so much. If it was more like a Snorlax, then it's possible that if it's trained up well enough, it might not ever die at all. But that's not the case with this. And yes, while I'm doing all of this, I do like, in particular, going through at night, in particular. Oh. Well, now I have to battle this boy. It's only 40, so it's not quite as bad as others. Says that as it still manages to do a decent amount of damage to Palkia, despite all that. Alright, we're just going for a normal attack. See if it does. And yes, as you can see, this confirms that alpha Pokemon do not have the same moves all the time. Because if it didn't, then Yopani wouldn't be doing this much damage. Oh boy, we have a rest. Let's not forget about rest, one of the trolliest moves in the game. I already have Lopunny, so I don't care as much about failing to capture that. Just wanted to get it out of the way, really. Alright, 10 Wisp left. It was an unusually difficult battle for supposedly the Master of Space. I think he would have fared a little bit better in that fight, but Lopunny was definitely keeping it close. That's why that's through those specific reasons why soloing will probably not be possible in the game as terms of like solo progression, unless you want to grind up catching a ton of Pokemon. I know it's possible, it's just that because of the amount of damage you take, it could take weeks to complete a full run of a Pokemon game where you use only one Pokemon. And given this was a new game, I was worried I would be able to potentially not do it without catching a single Pokemon either, so I was like, let's not deal with that. Which actually makes this probably one of my only games so far to date where I've actually played a Pokemon normally. I'm usually known for just doing challenges non-stop in these games. Which makes sense, because in my opinion, over the days, Pokemon games have gotten really easy to beat, so they were fun when I first played them, that's for sure, but once you know the right strategy, they're pretty easy to beat, especially in the later games where you can train up full teams very quickly, do some other crazy training methods like other stuff, and particularly the XP share, which allows you to train them all at once. You can pretty much get a team battle ready very quickly in this game and other games like it, compared to other previous titles where it was much more tedious to train and you also had to work harder to get through certain battles. Not to mention at one point a critical hit would be 2 times damage instead of 1.5 times, which is what it's like right now at the moment in this game series. So yeah, not fun. The only reason I'm checking through here, despite not having the effect to check the Wisp or anything else, is so I can check for these trees, because gosh darn, I've still not seen a Cherubi again to this date, and I do want to finish both Cherubi and Chirim at least. Interestingly enough, that did not even have an effect trigger, probably because I was too far away from the shaking tree. It's a bit odd. Of course, I didn't want to risk it with all those Cypher around, but whatever. It's a bit annoying that I let that go, but this is what it is. And I found out from other stuff, apparently all these trees have a set shake distance, quote-unquote, set spawns, meaning when I go into this area, or when I did go to this area, they already had set paths planned for me, and there's no way to really fix it. But nothing much else to say here. Sorry if this Wisp part is a bit trolly, but, it can get a little bit trolly, and yes, that's why I intentionally did not want to do this for the entire video, and why I also added in some extra catches and alphas, because keep in mind, while doing this entire playthrough, I still want to get every single Pokemon to complete the Pokedex, and I can't do that without catching people, so that Pokemon rather. So of course I need to look for every single instance I can take when it comes to finding Pokemon. I will say though, out of all the Pokemon, Chirim has been the hardest to catch by far. Some people say that spawn rate is bugged. Really, it's just rare. For me, basically when I was going for it, I found it one time and one time only in the one areas, which I thankfully caught. And I tried to find a way to get it to completion so I can get that one request done, you know. The request where we got pretty early on in the game where it asked us to show the completed entry for Chirim. But yeah, that isn't quite the case. In fact, more often than not, it's not actually the case at all. Also, I just realized some Pokemon will spawn at night rather than day. This is actually one of the weaker of the specials we can encounter in terms of just the alpha Pokemon. Oh, I did not notice that had a Geodude in it. Can we just run? You decide to battle some other time. I like how because as I ran, even though I ran, I still got to see the leap out of ore deposits effect of PI, which is quite interesting. I will say, having to play through this entire sense or whatever, and check through the area to find out where exactly to find these Wisp is certainly really annoying. In fact, you never know where... This is probably one of those obnoxious quests, too, where you could go through all of it and then miss a Wisp somewhere and just be screwed as to where exactly to find it. The worst of the areas so far to actually get this vein found, or in particular finding the Wisp, is in these areas where there's like very little stuff to go around in terms of nighttime Russian. And while it is possible to find them in times off of the other stuff, they're only most visible at night, which makes it not easy to find any of them. I'm done in this area. I don't want to go too much, so we'll start by looking at this island next. Yeah, just like all of the other things, or other easier, even trickier missions in this game, if you use a Braviary to go up to the top, or just Braviary in general, you'll be able to find the opponents way easier, or I guess in this case the Wisp, because they will always be visible at night by default. So if you go into that, you can usually find most of them through the air. However, some of them are a bit trickier than others. All these combis coming out, it's starting to get absolutely ridiculous. Well, that's new. We haven't gotten a Pinap Berry yet. That's a new one. Oh, there's a Fernape as well. We haven't got a lot of Monfernos or other stuff caught, let alone even seen a Fernape. I'm gonna battle this so he gets out of the way. I think Psychic still does not very effective damage, despite it supposedly looking not very effective at first. Alright. I like how last time when we went around, we literally skipped every single of these special encounters we could because, well, to be fair, we didn't have the best stats for them. Now we have stuff like raspberries and other stuff to reduce the catch rate that it won't be quite as difficult to get them. Really, the only thing we're doing with this is hitting it in the back with a Guillotine Ball, which is the best possible ball we could use with this, and just doing that same strategy, rinse and repeat, hoping to gosh that we catch it, and if we fail, we just use Braviary to run away. Of course, probably the trickiest part of the entire mess could often end up being actually using other stuff to get Chutler Veins. But yeah, not much else we can do otherwise. Yes, every time we fail to catch because the game refuses to let us catch it, then we just run away from one spot to the other. And that usually, quote-unquote, resets its threat level, except it nearly saw us right off the bat, which is not good, which tells me maybe I didn't go far enough. That's fine. When it has that effect on its area, if you, whoa. See, and then it just did that confusion. It flipped around like multiple times there. I don't think I've seen any Pokemon like that do that. Classic. Third try is the charm. That's what seems to happen with all these alphas. The only reason I'm catching the alphas, big money, obviously, and obviously for the points. And now we have Mr. Rainstorm. Better known as just raining. Okay. 8 Wisps left. My apologies if this gets a bit boring, but there's not a lot we can do to speed this up. It's really just going around the area, going as fast as possible to find as many, not only individual Pokemon, but as many Wisps as we can. Each time we find one, we touch it so we can get it going. I will say there is a small bit of optimization you can do with it. And we basically do that for like a few minutes, and then every time nighttime breaks, we'll do other stuff. Also, I'm going to start reporting to the professor at the end of these, even though I probably don't need to. Just so I can not only switch areas, but so I can get more money on my ads. Alright, so that was a lot of alpha Pokemon caught, which allowed us to get some good stuff. We also got some new data for everyone. We got Vaporeon unlocked for the first time. And yes, I have to do move grinding as well, but I'm not necessarily going to do that all the time. In fact, I think it's about time we end this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and in the next video, we're going to continue quote-unquote Wisp percent, where we try and get all of the Wisps. So far, they've been really hard to find. I hope we don't miss one, because that would be really terrifying if we did. So with that in mind, I will see you guys later. Peace.